Hello and welcome to another interview. So even though this is going to be part of SirToshi's news, this is actually going to be Toshi's Talks. We're going to be talking with Robin Hood, one of the most enigmatic figures that we've had on the show. So I'm very much looking forward to this. But before we start, branch to threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai. All your posts put on chain. Right, let's cue the music.
SirToshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Right, here we go. Robin Hood of the realm of England. Are you there?
Hello, SirToshi. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. It's always great to hear from you. Right then, what have you got for us today? Let's crack on.
Let's crack on. Right, straight into it. Most people have seen the stuff I'm doing with the courts, the court managers, the void orders, the district judges, magistrates' courts. We're now serving them in due process. We're bringing law back to our lands and making the sea retreat or the water retreat. So it's really working well. But what we're wanting to do now is get everybody on the same pages that we're working from. And what people have got to realise is, and with the casework I've just been doing, I've realised I've missed a little piece of the jigsaw out. And as we were discussing earlier, which is the solicitors, who are now all bargill through the SRA from the foreign state and are basically under Archibald 2025, and I've discussed this many, many times in other interviews and stuff, it conducts itself by illegal conversion because the SRA states it can only deal with the corporations. And that means, as to the Companies Act 2006, Section 790L to LQ, we, the people, have been illegally converted to corporations. I know it sounds fantastic and it can't be true, but if you look up the Companies Act 2006, I actually showed you the document on another podcast with somebody else, and I actually showed it's there, so I don't lie. It's worth looking up. So from 790L to 790LQ, all persons are now incorporated. And you are registered offshore as a private corporation. So they now treat you either as the Jane Doe, John Doe, dead corporation, or the PSC, which is person of significant control of the corporation that we don't know anything about. There's no contract. There's nobody signed anything. There's no meeting of the minds under contract law. To say that this is an absolute fraud and fraudulent behaviour, it is outside of any scope of any imagination that we, the mere people, could ever imagine. So this is now what we're going to do now is we're going after the solicitors. Now, one of our team has been contacted by a solicitors of, and the company's name is Moretime Clark Solicitors, who are registered to the SRA. So here we go. Dear Mr. Clark, misuse of jurisdictional language, demand for disclosure, insurance details and compliance with prescribed time, writing and living as the living executor, the sovereign creditor of England. Acting sui juris under jus naturel, just in rem, I explicitly deny any connection to the state-created thing, persona, personam, fiction, or the quasi-identity trust vessel, addressed incorrectly as Miss John Doe, Mr. John Doe, whichever you want to identify as. In recent correspondence, your letter is issued in foreign administrative language. directed improperly with no lawful contract or consent. Now, under everything that they're doing, they have to have a contract and consent from you, and they don't. But what they presume is, because you are the you are the PSC of their corporation that they've created, you are responsible. And it is as simple as that. So that's all the consent they need.
And where do they assume to get that consent from?
Well, it's the state created thing. Yeah, see, no, it's the state created thing. Because you're a state created slave, you are now under United Kingdom citizenship of the slave vessel. Being a vessel yourself, you now become upon the water. As to the Inland Waterways Act, which states it, this is all about taking the man of the land into the water jurisdiction where all his assets become corporate assets, and they are up for grabs. They are no longer private property of the sovereign.
So do all the solicitors now need to be served?
Correct. If you've got a solicitor, because what they do is they illegally convert you from the man into the personam, or persona, or quasim trust vessel. And this is all about accessing the vessel of trust that is through the birth certificate. We've all seen it. We've all seen the Cester v. Trust Act, 1666 and 1707. This is all about accessing the trust that should have been surrendered to you by the trustees within 7 years. And it isn't, because you are then, by your birth certificate, converted into the corporate thing by the state and the Crown Office. They tell you it's for administrative purposes only. Well, that's a bit of a lie then, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's to entrap you into your driving license, your passport, state fiction jurisdiction, nothing more. So you now no longer have any rights, apart from what they give you, which is nil. Now you are bound by legislation and statutory duty to the state corporation under the United Kingdom Corporation or the Great Britain Corporation, right? And that's beaten by multiple maxims, but the best one I use at the minute is a legal fiction is bound by legislation and statutory duty. Man is not.
Brilliant.
And that is confirmed in both the Constitutional Reforms Act 1986 and the Constitutional Reforms Act 2005. So let's go back to the solicitors. So under Civil Procedure Rule CPR 31, disclosure of documents and related procedural requirements, failure to meet these strict timelines will result in immediate demand for the removal as an SIRA registered solicitor and cease to act until a full investigation and redress are completed. Absence of signature and authority, because we all know the solicitors never sign their letter. They stamp them or they sign them in the company name. Well, the company's a piece of paper. So how does the company sign its name. It's all fraud. It's all deception.
Yeah.
The letter sent bears no lawful signature or authority and constitutes fraud by omission under de jure law and lex terrain principles. This is supported by authentic High Court case law, including McDay on jurisdiction and signatures, 1998, Clark McDay v. R. 2008, also Justice Manning's ruling 16th of December 2020, which all confirmed that an unsigned communication without lawful authority is without jurisdiction and void immediately. It has no effect. So you can return it. Right? And this is what we now recommend you do, is open the letter, scan it, keep the copy, send the copy back to them, highlight certain principles within the letter, send a notice like this one back to it, and then say we now want your insurance policy, because we now think you've illegally converted us. And with these simple little attention grabbers, you can now prove it.
Brilliant.
Here we go again. The SR handbook, the Solicitors Regulation and Solicitors Regulation Authority, SRA, are bound to act honestly and with integrity, SRA Principle 1 and 2, including obligation to disclose your professional indemnity insurance certificates and securityships detailed promptly, SRA Code of Conduct 2019, Chapter 13, page 83 onwards. I insist that you specify with legal perception which department or entity your communication represents, choosing from the following distinct departments. Department 1, the legal persona. Identity, state-created thing, corporate vessel. Department 2, the quasi-identity trust vessel, the state-created trust vessel. Department 3, myself. I am. Name, change your last name slightly. The sovereign natural person. The sui juris creditor under de jure and lex terrain law. I am the living executive. Clarity for legal accuracy and critical to prevent illegal conversion, constituted by Archibald's 2025 Pleadings and Evidence and Practices, 2025 edition, Section 3, Paragraph 48, est, postal addresses and illegal conversion, the use of postcode as a port code on the letter addressed permanently violates Section 10 of the Road and Traffic Act 1992, concealing illegal conversion from illuminating the disregard of lawful practice in your correspondence. Final demand and consequences. You are hereby required to provide within 5 days all the details we've just asked for. All the complaint goes into the SRA. The SRA have got absolutely no other, to then suspend the solicitor and do a full investigation. And that's whether the solicitor works for you or a third party. So anybody that's now making a claim, mortgage company, finance agreement company, any of them. Because what we've all got to realise, none of what we signed was signed by the living man. It was illegally converted into the personams, the trust. That's why in their fiat system, a debt is created and a credit is resolved. But then they double dip on us, triple dip on us, quadruple dip on us, because we're paying for interest that cannot be thing because they SPV it. SirToshi, you should be fully aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, SPVs on, what is it, on mortgages. A credit agreement is the agreement that it's going to be SPV'd and sold. So the companies make no loss, have no injury, they've already been paid and the debt has been settled. But they still want to charge you in interest. They still want to charge you the money that they've already been paid back from commercial banks. Well, who owns the trusts? The commercial banks.
Right. So what the commercial banks hold the SirToshi trusts?
We believe, I mean, it makes sense. It makes pure and utter sense if you think about it. The commercial banks hold the trust in commercial authority because who has set it up? The commercial entity, the placenta, by way of the fraudulent birth certificate, because the birth certificate, as we all know, it's been washed out as this birth certificate. It's an administrative document. It falls under the four-corner rule as legalese. Everything within the document is wiped clean, so nothing's registered. We know about the placenta scam. The baby is given the live birth notification forms. You can ask any midwife on that.
Yep.
But they're never given to you. The only time that anything happens, and we've had this well documented by many midwives and ex-midwives and whistleblowing midwives, your hospital numbers are not created until the placenta is registered. So it's the placenta that gets registered, not the baby. The baby then is, by informant, again, another administrative language nonsense, transferred into a debt. You are now owned by the state to pay the state's debts. Well, that's not how it works. We're the creditors. The state works for me, not the other way around. And that's what everybody has allowed to happen because we've been too busy trying to pay off debts that have already been paid, not once, not twice, but 3 times. As they securitize them. They make money from them. Then they put your asset onto the portfolio and then use fractional reserve banking to create more money from your private asset without disclosure. That's fraud. But that's the banking world that we've now inherited from the corrupt state. But going back to simpler times with the solicitor. So we go off there. In response to a cut and paste document, because that's what they all come back with, the legal fiction, misuse language and belittling sovereign standing. This is a serious breach of the SRA regulations, handbook policies, specifically Principle 1 and 2, requiring honesty, integrity and respect in dealing with such conduct, along with the threat issued against the sui juris living executor by attempt to impose jurisdiction through a civil national business centre, is dismissed by the High Court ruling in Monza v. the Secretary of State and Business. Invention the Skills East WHR 2416 admin case number CO 73002114, where the court stated non-qualified persons operating outside of lawful jurisdiction authority create no lawful order, and any alleged jurisdiction they enact must be struck down as invalid and null. Now, that is paragraph 54. So now if you've had any solicitor threaten to take you to a civil business centre or a council and they've awarded anything against you, you've now caught them in fraud, deception, deceit by omission, deceit by misrepresentation, failing to disclose material facts. Failure to disclose license or agreement is immediate grounds for estoppel. And you can now sue not only the solicitors, but the corporation behind the claim. But you go after the solicitors because they're easy. They have to, under their own rules, have to surrender their insurance certificate. And you don't even have to be. You don't have to be a client to them. And again, here we go. Just for highlighting certain things. A statutory demand. The principle means persons retain sovereign rights not forfeited by artificial statutory conscripts. Just natural, just lex aeternam. Natural law is eternal law. This foundation targets, intent guides, and protects the sovereign rights above all statutory jurisdiction. Archibald's Criminal Pleadings, again, Evidence and Practices 2025 edition, section 341, Hector condemns illegal conversion as usurpation of lawful jurisdiction and states courts must not enforce orders made outside of lawful authority. Broom's legal maxim, equity requires substance rather than form. That means your legal fiction is a form, it's a piece of paper. The man is of substance. No one shall be permitted to profit from his own wrong. That means the corporation, the solicitors, are now caught. The judge is caught from profiteering. Statutes are not binding on persons outside their scope, such as natural sovereigns. Diminished light of the foregoing, I demand immediate withdrawal of all false and copied legal claims and misrepresentative forms, written apology, and breach of SRA policy. And off we go again. This is where you get the solicitors. And there's nothing that they can do, because now we can claim against them. Excuse me, sorry about that. We can now make a claim and they have to give us their policies, their sureties. Same with the courts, same with the court manager.
Brilliant, mate.
Because they're there to show that every principle within that court holds to de jure standard, to lex terrain standard. That means law of the land. That's a superior law. The Constitution, law, superior law. Natural justice, God's law, it's called. Super superior law. No man-made statute or government legislation can be law over the man. So shall we have a rethink of who is who now?
That's massive, mate. That's massive.
Once again, we've been misled, misinformed. We've just been abused. This is why the judges, you will go get a Bargill solicitor. So he can illegally convert you into the personam. So they can rule over you without fear. That's why you never walk into a court with a solicitor. The game's done before you even begin.
Well, isn't the game done when you just simply walk into a court because the court's illegitimate?
No. We've got ways to override the court.
Oh.
And this is what's coming out in our next few podcasts, and hopefully you'll invite me back, and I'll share them with you. I'll share you the video evidence. We hit Stockport County Court last week. We videoed it all. The security guards dare intercede. We did it under due process. We issued them paperwork. We told the court, one of the managers that came out, I'm the court manager, blah, blah, blah. So there you go, served. Well, I'm served. Well, I don't know. It's not me. Threw me the paperwork back.
Brilliant.
Got the senior court manager. She came out, no, we haven't got any stamps. I said, oh, you haven't got any stamps, have you? So this is not a court of law then, is it? No, it's an administrative court. So it has no jurisdiction. None. So why have all these people attended? Why have you made illegal orders? Wouldn't stamp the documents. I said, well, there you go. There's one that we got one last week done. Stamp it. No, they ran off. So we've issued new documentation now, giving them an opportunity to cure and stamp the information. Otherwise, we charge the court managers. Never mind the judge, we're going after everybody now. They're all starting to slowly awaken and realise that they are no longer protected.
Wow.
Not one of them. The solicitors, not the what is it? Because everything's being booted back uphill to the judges now. Everything. How do you get a single justice procedure rule, which is a minor civil offence, under Admiralty jurisdiction as to the Magistrates Court in 1948, right? A single justice procedure states there it is a summons of invitation. They can't arrest you for it. So why are the judges and magistrates issuing arrest warrants? They don't have the power to. It's a minor offence.
Criminality beyond the pale.
Mate, it's tyranny beyond scope, and we're all falling for it.
Treason.
It's massive treason. It is. If you look under Treason Act 1351, still in force.
Yep.
It is classified as waging war against the sovereign people and the king. Wow. It also comes under the head of giving aid to a foreign state or domestic state corporation. This is in 1351.
Wow.
Yeah, in law. It comes under common law fraud, which has no time limit. It comes under the High Court, high treason, akin to high treason. It comes under uttering, issuing, forged instrument as true, knowing it to be false. So the judge knows it's false because it's only got the black stamp on it. It is Admiralty doctrine stamp. It means nothing without the red imperial crown seal of the people.
Wow.
The living crown is called that because it is the sovereign crown. It is our crown. It's not the king's. He has no authority whatsoever. I'm sick of people telling me, oh, he's the king. He's the king of what? He's the king of nothing. He is, as to George III's document signatures state, your loyal servant.
Yeah.
It is a public office. He is nothing more than the chief trustee of our sovereignty and the imperial crown authority. He will do what the sovereigns tell him to do.
Brilliant.
That's me and you.
Brilliant.
If he fails to do that, he is removed as king. This thing that we've got at the minute has stated when he was coronated, he's not the king. He actually states, and we've shown this on your show before, and I can do it again if you want me to send it across, and we'll do it next time, SirToshi, is literally, he is a liege lord.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that from the Privy Council.
Yes, and he is the king of the Commonwealth Corporation. He is king of the dead, the personams, nothing more. He has no jurisdiction upon land. He has now moved himself upon the water. As a dead, created state thing. Stop believing it upon the water. We are men of land. The Holy Gospel states. What does it state? And I've said it, I'm sick of saying it. God made man from the dust of the earth, molded him into the image of God, and by his breath blew life and soul into his nostrils. That's the direct, near enough direct quote from the Holy Gospel.
Giving him dominion over the land.
And the air, yeah, and the waters. We own everything. Everything. Up to the heavens gate. We have dominion over everything. Well, if we have granted dominion over everything, why are we allowing state corporate government to govern us as corporations, issuing acts and legislation to enslave us by servitude and compelled performance, by force, in a breach of the Slavery Act 2010, Article 4 of the Human Rights, Article 6 of the Human Rights, Article 8 of the Human Rights, Article 10 of the Human Rights, never mind any other article, breach of the Geneva Convention, breach of the Verona Treaty, breach of the 1948 London's Agreement Treaty on war on sovereignty. We've got, then it's a direct violation of the constitutional principles and norms itself. Parliament is a corporation franchise only. All the ministers that you claim you vote for, ask them to prove it. But I can prove within 3 minutes, and I've done so and made full-grown solicitors 20, 30 years. And you were there. I know you didn't see much of it. But you were there when we were down in wherever we were down in, enlightening people.
Yep. And
giving them facts in law. The solicitor did one. And he'd been the solicitor for 30 years. And could not handle the fundamental question, how do I, a brickie, know more law than you do? Yeah. Not only do I know more law, but I know more law. I know more maxims. Why are you dealing in legislation?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And he left. Huh. Couldn't deal with it. He literally left 2 minutes after because he couldn't deal with it. Could not deal with it. They don't deal in law. They deal in presumption of the foreign state. They deal in legislation, which has no binding to me or you. Once you claim who you are and don't move from that jurisdiction. Don't agree with it. Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand? I don't understand you because you're speaking a foreign tongue. Is this administrative? Is it legalese? Is it the devil's handbook? Are you under the presumption? Who are you speaking to? Because I don't recognise you. Got you? Because we no longer recognise the judge, the clerk, and the legal proceedings going off because they're foreign. The solicitor, foreign. There is no CPS anymore. The CPS, said this again, it is a foreign state corporation and it has been insolvent since the 1st of August 2024. Look it up. It's all there for you to see.
The CPS
it cannot bring
since 1st of August 2024? How did you find that?
It's a private. Just by literally research.
Oh wow.
Put it into your chat GPTs and all the rest of it. It now claims TPS is nothing more than a building corporation. It looks after the homes.
Yeah.
Show me it.
Yeah.
So if the CPS is nothing more than a corporation, then it's a corporation bringing a corporation to court. Well, when were you incorporated, SirToshi? When were I incorporated? No. Illegal conversion.
Absolutely.
Fake. Yeah. This is an administrative court. Now tell me where the license is. Bring me the constitutional monarchy seal. All courts must have the constitutional monarchy seal. They don't have it. I went into, our friend Gary can vouch for this, took his stuff down to London, 2 weeks ago now, and literally got his divorce voided. Court manager having no jurisdiction of the man. It was for personas. All judges were bar guild. I put her under a fiduciary duty. Honesty, she couldn't lie.
Brilliant.
She had to take all the documents in the process, in the superior standing of law, and everything is void. I confirmed the marriage certificate is nothing more than a corporate document of two personams, two corporations merging. Therefore, as the Church of England is what? It's a corporation. It's not a religious order anymore.
Yeah.
How can it marry you? Because any time any money changes hands or their script currency, right? It is commercial.
Yeah.
When you marry before God, soul to soul, you are bound. There can be no money change hands. It's a sacred, official rite of passage between two living entities. When you marry in a church or a registered office, it's void. It's void from the beginning. It's fraud. When did they tell you the document that you're signing, the marriage certificate, is not you? It's a legalese administrative document by the four corner rule. Everything within the four corners, upon the page, is void. Therefore, any material facts within a box on a page is wiped clean. She confirmed it. She stamped the void, or she stamped the marriage certificate as void.
Wow. That's huge.
It's starting to be massive, mate. It's received, it's done, it's all the rest of it now. Because once a document has been received by the courts, it's void. We're going to be taking them all back and getting them now to stamp it because they've had it. They've not responded to it. So by silent tacit agreement, it's true. 25, 30 minutes. I stood there literally requesting information from the court manager. And I said, why have you got my seal up? Why has that been removed? Because this has no constitutional monarchy court, is it? No. Well, who are you bringing to court? And on what authority? This is not a bar guild court. Why are you claiming that you now belong in the centre of London? Because as a bar guild presumption court can only exist in the city of London, foreign state. This is what they've done by the Waterways Act. They've now put all these water courts, port courts, on water through fraudulent acts of Parliament, by the treason of Parliament, by the usurpation of the Bill of Rights and other constitutional documents. When you go to vote, you put an X in a box at the side of an all caps name. Your voter card, every piece of information is put in a box, within a box upon the page, all wiped off. Then what do you do with that vote? You put it into what's called a dead man's box. So now they can count it and move the votes around as they see fit. That's why it's all kicking off at the minute with voters. This is why, whether you like him or not, Donald Trump in America is going after them massively. Because they know that only state slave citizens go and give their opinions.
Right. Got ya.
So you don't vote. Your vote is worthless. There's people saying, stop, get on the voters' roll. I'm telling you now that is a psyop. If you are on the voters' roll, get off it. Because that is your payment to the state to have your say or give your opinion. If you're off it, they cannot charge you council tax. They cannot class you as a persona. They will try, but this is how we unpick the state from our lives. A few lads at the minute are having massive battles with DWP and all the rest of it, right, to claim their entitlements, not their benefits.
Yeah.
Because there is no benefit of the state.
That's fantastic, mate.
And the DWP are struggling at the minute, and I mean seriously struggling. Because they have now been put under strict rules of law, strict maxims of law to disclose who they actually are. Why have they not disclosed that they are under license and agreement to the United Kingdom Corporation, to the bankers?
Yeah.
Same with solicitors. They are the bankers' arm of legislation. All legislation is for banking, it's for corporations.
Yep.
It is not for me and you, the living man. We are the creditors. So what should happen is the state claims it's in 2.something trillion quid's worth of debt. Who's it in debt to? Me and you. So that 8% it's paying should be coming back to us. But what is it actually going off to pay? We've shown this, right? If you've got one of those QR code scanners on your phone, we did it with the council tax, it was paying off Japanese bonds. Because they delayed them. Yep. We got a big black tick against us, right? Because we didn't pay off the bonds, the gilts. All this is a deception for the bond market, for the gilt market. Because the state is borrowing money to give away so that they can claim an emergency. Well, we're not under emergency. The state is under emergency. The state is nothing more than a corporation. It borrows money like any corporation, and what does it generate? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Taxes are voluntary. We don't have to pay them. And this is what their fear was, and this is why they've converted us, including the 1973 entrance into the EEC, which basically turned us all corporate, which turned us all into corporate things.
Yeah, and they're borrowing what? They're borrowing made up fiat or made up securities fraud from the bank, which avoids it anyway.
Well, no, we're not. You literally, I know that you were one of the first that highlighted this outside of the magistrates' court at Leeds and one of your older brilliant things. You fetched up your favourite topic. It begins with an N. I'll let you do it and give it justice.
Yep.
It's the Nixon shock.
Yeah.
Take it away, SirToshi. You inform people of what that says and what it states. You know it better than I do.
Yeah. So that stems from the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, which backed all European currencies to the US dollar, and the US dollar was backed by gold because they'd stolen it all after World War I and World War II. And then the Nixon shock on the 15th of August 1971, which was the 100-year anniversary of Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, outlining how it would take 3 world wars to bring about a totalitarian one world government and new world order. They knew that once they had an unlimited amount of economic power, the rest of the plans would just simply fall into place. So the Nixon shock removed the US dollar from the gold standard, meaning therefore it was backed by nothing, meaning it became fiat currency, which by definition of SEC versus W.J. Howe Code 1946 immediately converted all US dollar into securities fraud and all currencies backed by it from the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. Therefore, any transaction involving any fiat currency is null and void because fraud unravels all, as per Lord Denning.
And therefore, this is what it is all about. It's keeping us in a fiat system that works for them, removes our authority over them. Why are we putting in requests in 3 million and they just go, oh, how silly of those people?
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. When we say jump, Parliament says how high.
Yep.
We are the crown. We are the sovereign authority. You don't dismiss us, we dismiss you. And this is what people have got to understand. Now, we're doing a massive thing at the minute where we've got a team and we're hopeful, but we are going to demand that every judge's bond, oath, sureties and suretyships are now publicly displayed and surrendered to everybody that's been in court over the last 30 years for claim. And we're taking it to the court. We're going to smash the courts, the judges.
Yeah.
Solicitors, all of them now, because they're taking people's houses.
Yeah.
Where's the jury? Article 39, the fundamental principle of law, the Magna Charta, states no man can be excised, arrested, thrown out of his property without the due process of law and by the jury of his equals. Bill of Rights says the same thing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now these cretins in Parliament think they can take away our juries. Do you know what that's for in reality terms? Never mind your digital ID, because that's fake. The UK lost the digital ID argument in 2008 at the European Courts of Union, at the European Courts. They're in black and white if you want to look it up.
Oh, wow.
Also, 2020, right? South Wales Police lost a fortune and a massive case at the Supreme Court on biometrics. Look it up.
Right. Wow. That's
facial recognition was used. Can't do that. All these cameras that are up, walking into supermarkets, easy 5 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand. They cannot have your biometrics. They cannot photograph you without your explicit consent. In law, they can't use it for any. I don't care if they see you doing whatever with it. It is tainted because they haven't got your consent.
Yeah.
Or it cannot be used.
Wow.
And all this is to distract us from them attempting to take our juries. Because the juries now have the right, which is never disclosed, if law or a statute or legislation that they bring against the man, the jury can go, absolutely no way. Get rid of it. It's null and void from this moment forward.
Yep.
Case dismissed. That is the power of the jury. The jury can literally state, no, all acts within this motion are void. The Transport Act, void. The Inland Waterways Act, void. That's the power of a court du jour jury. Look it up, it's in the Juries Act.
Brilliant.
And this is where they're trying to get you on biometrics, to get you jumping up and down, faffing about, where they try and usurp our constitutional right to a jury.
Shocking.
And all we have to do is look up case law. It's there. International case law, ECHR, boom. Can't do it. 2008, 2020 Supreme Court backed up the 2008 ECHR. They dare not go against the ECHR. No. The guy used it in literally, boom. It's also going to be used again. They've just forced a 77-year-old woman with her private plates outside of state jurisdiction. They've seized a car. They themselves have put the plates back on that were issued by the state in fraud, so that they can now try and claim a car, and demanded by force to a 77-year-old lady, if you don't give us your biometrics, we're taking them.
Oof.
And we'll hurt you. And that was by an inspector at Portsmouth. Well, look out, Mr. Inspector. We're coming.
Good. That's outrageous.
This is how vile they are getting. The data is now the new oil. They're selling it without our consent. They're listening to us at every opportunity. They're sending you flash sales of trainers, TVs, anything you talk about. Oh, I could just do with something like that. Oh, I'm looking at one of these cars. How many times has something popped up on his phones? All buyer data mining.
Unbelievable.
So let's just finish off on what we started, and then that's the solicitors. So now you ask a solicitor when you go on, I want your insurity. Can you deal with the living executive as to the Constitutional Reform Act, still in force, 1986, 2005? Because it tells you in the SRA handbook itself, they cannot. They can only deal within the legal system of incorporated personams. That's what it actually says. Look it up. Get on your Jack GPs, get on your whatever AI systems and your other stuff. Look what it says. Fetch up the SRA handbook. Look what it says. Shocking. But they thought we'd never be able to unpick what they'd done.
Yeah.
The solicitors, every insurance company is now liable for all the solicitors are wrong. Every house that's been repossessed, the judge is now liable. Which will be an excellent one to do later, because there's actually loads of case laws on it. Because if the judge has practiced law from the bench, it breaches maxims of law. The judge ought not to practice law from the bench, or he is liable. So if he's just awarded, let's say, a £250,000 repossession writ, the judge is now liable in law to pay it off. If it's only got the black stamp, if it's not got the red seal on, then the judge's liable.
Oh, wow.
If he's not told you and that you're in a Admiralty vessel court under the Admiralty Maritime Doctrine jurisdiction, under licence, can't do anything. Massive case law. Where's the contract? It states in law they have to have your consent, or a contract has to be there. And it is for the water, it's for vessels, i.e. ship-going vessels. Accidents. You know, not being awful, but if 5 containers drop over thing, you can sue the vessel company for the value of those containers, as is to access the trust, the state trust, that they should have granted to us before our 7th birthday, as to the Sestavi Trust. But what they want you to do is work out that you are of age, what age you are, not what your birth certificate says, to claim your trust so that you know who and what you are. And I've given plenty of tips on this. We've now done the documents, they're ready, they're being, shall we say, examined by certain experts that have done this a lot longer than me, and they're blown away by the stuff that I've used, and the case laws we've used and everything else. Now, what we can do is, as a collective, take the United Kingdom Corporation to the UCC court and claim £100 million per crime against each and every one of us, as to the rules of UCC 9.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. That's massive.
That's, I think, where we... It is massive. It relieves a lot of, what is it, for people. And I'm just hoping that me leading by example, putting these people under notice, and you'll see, hopefully we'll get something released tomorrow. Hopefully I can do something with you later on next week. Yeah. And get that out as well. We can start now issuing against solicitors, the SRA. There's a new SRA director. She's a very much statutory officer. But they're in for a new. But she's left herself in a couple of ways with her statement that by taking the office that she's going to do this, and this, and we're going to basically choke her with her own words if she does not make the solicitors capitulate and allow us to claim. Now, don't forget, they're insured per SRA rules for £2 million per claim.
Got ya.
So you more than one claim. No, you state illegal conversion by this, and this. Then you state another claim for harassment, trauma, mental anguish, theft of assets, deliberate harm, comes under foreseeable amount, malicious communication. You can tie in 3 or 4 things together and then go after them for different claims at £2 million a pop.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, that work that you've uncovered there is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Well, it's just how we've got to be. We've got to start looking at the lower hanging fruit to get to the high. And what you can see at the minute is everybody's trying to kick stuff back upstairs. No. You told me I could do this. And it turns out I can't do it. And this is where these police officers now think they've got absolute carte blanche on tyranny. Well, you haven't. Look up the Terrorism Act. In 2006, 2010, 2015, it comes under Terrorism Act, which they throw against us at every verse and end, and they can't because it's a legislation. It's for them. It comes under political agenda by force. The statutory ruling system is by force of Parliament and the United Kingdom Corporation. There's no police officer in England that comes under common law. Not one. They've got no authority. Look up there's just been a massive review last year of police and crimes commissioners. It's a statutory office only. What are the police and have been videoed claiming that they've got special powers granted to them from PSC because she's elected. Well, she's not elected. And as to the High Court Judicial Review 2024, it has confirmed that the Police and Crimes Commissioner's Office has no common law powers. It has no powers whatsoever. It is there as nothing more than an administrative office, as it has no mandate or requirement by the people. The police are under the PACE Act 1984 and secondary legislation. Again, what's the PACE Act? Legislation. What does the constitutional supreme law state? All power flows from the imperial crown. All power.
Got ya. Gotcha.
Without the imperial crown, us, the governed, by contract, that the state governance can only conduct business of state with international businesses to create benefit and wealth for the nation. That's it. It does not state that they can make laws for me and you. They have to abide by the legislation because that's for them. Legislation is for companies. Now, if you're a company and you're speeding, your wagons are going out of control, whatever, you can be fined. But the natural man cannot be fined. This is why they won't give you your own logbooks. This is why they won't allow you to have private plates on your own car. It's all fraud. The DVLO is now bang rights to it. The land registry is bang rights to it because the land registry has illegally converted your houses from the land into the water under port codes. And this is what they mean. It's already been done.
Yeah.
The illegal conversion. They've taken everything off the land and put it upon the water. They never thought we'd figured it out. So now every official, every one of them on the land has under fiduciary duty. Don't care what your legislative pals say, you're done. And we have the right to remove them immediately and seize all assets to be returned to the nation. This is what people are forgetting. Well, I'm not talking about going out there and, mob-handed and doing whatever. We do it through de jure. What is the highest court upon the land? That everybody has to obey. A true court de jure of the people.
Got ya.
Look it up. Even the courts are terrified of us knowing that fact. Because we then become superior to every judge. If you don't believe me, we're all seeing this thing at the minute in the Old Bailey. Can you tell me where the Old Bailey is, SirToshi?
London, City of?
Correct. Therefore, it has no what?
Jurisdiction outside of London.
Correct. So why have they taken a man from England into their jurisdiction? On what basis? On what authority? Foreign state. We all saw the Bargill judge sat there giving all this speech and all the rest of it. What was on the green chair behind her head?
Would it be a crown seal or something like that?
It's supposed to be a crown seal. It's supposed to be the imperial crown seal, and it's not. It is the Rothschild seal.
Right.
Banker's seal.
No
Case
way.
is void from the beginning. And it's there, it's all gold or green. And all that she came out with the other day was absolute horse rubbish, in my opinion. Horse rubbish. Keir Starmer's had multiple times more than that in suits, sunglasses, it's all been exposed. Public knowledge. Where's his court case? From Lord Ali. It's all been blown up now all over the internet. How can you jail one man when they're all at it?
It's going to take a swarm, mate.
Well, of course you can. If it's one rule for one, it's one rule for all.
Yeah,
so how does he get jailed for 10.5 years, but yet everybody else can take gifts? What? Live in somebody's absolute whatever apartment that would have cost him, what, 20, 30, 40 grand to stay there if he'd have been renting it?
Yeah.
If not more. And what? We're all supposed to just say, hang on a minute, that's okay then. What's the difference? Because somebody needs to explain that to me. What is the difference? It's the same amount of money being exchanged, just in a different way.
Absolutely.
So interference is interference, is it not? Buying somebody by letting them stop at their super plush whatever and buying them 50 Armani suits, sunglasses, shoes, socks, wife's clothes. Really? And that's not currying favour.
Absolutely.
What? Sorry, but I don't understand that. And before anybody goes, oh, that's whatever, maximum of law. No man has the right not to be offended. ECHR, freedom of speech, that they keep forgetting we have.
Yeah, there needs to be a mass formation of knowledge.
It's not only knowledge. It's not only just the knowledge, mate. It's very simply a simple case of we need to say no more. You're done. We're not putting anything in a box. We're not doing this. You are out. You're gone. And until we clear the rot from the ship will never float again.
Well, mate, and on that note, we've been going for 1 hour, 10 minutes. Probably a good time to wrap it up so we can do another one another time.
Yeah, perfect, mate. Perfect.
This has been absolutely phenomenal. So I'm actually going to go back and re-listen to this because I thought it was that good. So for anybody listening, obviously, I hope you enjoyed it. And as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.